So hi everyone, welcome to this teaser video for the MEF Connects Wholesale virtual event. To remind you, this event takes place on Wednesday the 7th of October and Thursday the 8th of October. And the aim is to look at the business trends and challenges affecting the wholesale markets for voice, IoT, messaging and RCS. And today I'm delighted to be joined by the moderator for the event, Hot Telecom's Isabelle Paradis. So in this short video, we thought we'd dig into the big shifts that are affecting the stakeholders in the wholesale market. And Isabelle, you've identified 4 of them, so let's dive in. The first one is what you call the reality shift. Maybe you can talk about that.
So the first one is really the trigger of a completely new world that we live in. So our reality is changing completely. Whether the events that have taken place in the last few months has changed our world 360 degrees, really. So we have to transform the way we live, the way we work, the way we interact together. And that will make an indelible mark on our businesses, not only our lives, but the businesses that serve all of our, enable us to do what we have to do when we go home, when we work. And I believe that the cornerstone of our lives now, more and more, are the operators, the people that enable us to connect, to communicate together. So these operators will have to change the way they serve us. And they will have to get used to this new reality themselves. And what is this new reality, what we call the new normal? We hear that more and more. Well, in my view, there's not going to be, sadly, for all of us, one new normal. It will be a multitude of new normals. Going forward, our reality, our lives, the way we work will continually evolve. And this will be more and more complex, not only for us as individuals, as consumers, but also for the operators that serve us. So for the operators to be able to give us what we want, they will have to be not only agile and flexible, but more and more resilient to be able to be as fluid as us in our life day to day.
Okay, so part of that is going to be what you call the customer shift. So can you touch on that for us?
So if we look at what we want as individuals, we want high quality connectivity. Yes, we want self-built control in real life, continually, wherever we are. We want multiple fluid options depending on how our lives is evolving. The new challenges that we see every day, we want to be able to have communication that follow that model as well. One thing is important, we still want, and maybe more than ever, security, not only in terms of the media that we exchange, but in terms of our personal information, our identity. And this is more and more crucial, I think, for enterprises when their employees work from home. So that's quite an important point. And really, to wrap it all up, what we are looking for is some sort of Amazon type experience. We want a real light delivery. We want to test. We want to send back the product, at the click of a button if we don't like it. And this is true throughout the whole value chain. It's true for end user customers. It's true for enterprise customers. It's also true for operator customers who have to deal with these requirements. So what it means for wholesalers addressing this is more about offering self-serve, automated, intelligent, and fluid business model.
With your first 2 points, you've talked about kind of social and cultural shift that's going to indirectly impact wholesale. With the third point, I think we're getting a bit more specifically into the market itself, which is the revenue shift. So can you explain that?
So all this volatility and the shift in the customer has really had an impact on where the revenue is coming from and will come from in the future. So the million-dollar question is, where is the money in this new normal? So talking to carriers in the last few months, operators, we've had a lot of discussions to find out how this has impacted them, how they think it will impact them in the future. What they've told us, and I think what we found is really diversity of portfolio was key. The big winners in terms of growth and revenue were the carriers who are at a diversified portfolio around unified communication, cloud, connectivity, obviously. But surprisingly also with voice and A2P messaging, there was a lot of growth. So to give you an example of winners in terms of revenue, voice termination, people are telling us they've seen a growth between 5 and 25%, which hasn't been seen in a long time. Will it stay? I don't know, possibly, but that has been an impact. The unified communication growth by 30 to 60%. Connectivity in IP transit growth by 30%. Number provisioning 30-60%. Cloud communication, automation, business intelligence, also gaining a lot of traction. And one of the things is maybe outsourcing. People are looking at how to become more efficient, and they're looking at outsourcing as a solution. Obviously, on the loser side, roaming, Also, we've seen some delays in more innovation around 5G, IoT, blockchain, and complex deals. Not that they're going to go away, but maybe some slow and maybe a shift in focus from what was before to maybe creating ecosystem, maybe around the health, and the health system. I think that's a very good example at the moment. So that's one shift in the money area. Also, a lot of people said that they're re-questioning the complexity of the way their business model works. Do they still want complex traffic swap? Do they still want commitments? They're questioning the roaming business model, the permanent business model, the complex voice and messaging deals. So there's a lot of questioning about the complexity. Should the carriers, the operators really simplify their business model to be able to be as fluid as we need them to be?
Great. Okay. Well, the final shift you've identified is the strategy shift. So talk us through that.
So this is more what really wraps the whole thing up. Recently, I've talked on many events in my career, and I was always talking about the challenge for a wholesaler to address both efficiency and new revenues and innovation. So they still have to do that. They still have to, go after efficiency in terms of automation, in terms of new ways of doing business with blockchain, for example, and encouraging IoT, being an enabler of that, while generating innovation, new revenues, taking more risks. Now with what's happened, I think, and what I see as the new normals coming relentlessly, they have to add to this efficiency, which I touched on initially in my discussion with you. So the reality is we have to be ready for multiple realities. Okay, with efficiency you have to plan, you have to forecast, but this is becoming more and more difficult. So you have to be ready to, yes, you still have to do that exercise, but also to shift your organization very quickly, to move your people around, to play with your portfolio, the way you address your customers very quickly to be able to address what I call the new normals. So this efficiency part of the discussion, I think, hasn't been very present in the wholesale space, and I think the telecom space in general. But this is becoming more and more important. And this can only happen if you have a very creative, very fluid, and intelligent workforce. And it is a real balancing act. So very difficult to achieve, but I think we'll have to work towards that more and more.
Okay, well, obviously it's a difficult time in some ways for the market, but also a time that's got lots of opportunities ahead of it, and lots to discuss at the event in a few weeks' time. So, Isabelle, thank you very much for joining us today, and we'll see you at the event. And thanks for watching.